Okay. Now we want to just populate this column with our formula. For us to populate column, we can either double click the corner of the cell where it becomes a black cross. We can do that. Sorry, my Excel is on manual formula. Okay. So you see that we have indicator for true here because this is female, but this was sprite. But one of the criteria was correct. So we have true here, false because none of, and so on and so forth. Now, the next one is if the child's name is Bola or the child is drinking beer, they need to be blacklisted. For us to do that is where our nesting comes in. For nesting, we are going to have two formulas. So what a nest means is we are using one formula string as an element of another formula. That's what nesting means. So where popular things like if arrow, VLOOKUP, if and, if countif, index match. Note that those things are not individual formulas. They are 1, 2, or 3 formulas put together to create a string for a desired result. And that's where, and in an example like this is where something like that will come in. So let's read the question again. It said, if the child's name is Bola,
Okay.
the child's name is Bola, or the child is drinking beer, they need to be blacklisted. So here we want to write blacklist here or warning because they said the others will be warned. So we are going to start with the basic, with what you just did at the other end now. We'll start from the middle, we'll start from the element. So the first element here is or. Remember what we just did now. So if the child's name is Bola, I mean child's name equals to Bola. Or the child is drinking beer. That means this cell equals to beer. When we press enter here, we are going to have false, correct? But that's not what we want. We want to see warning or blacklisted. Blacklisted if this is true, warning if this is false. I will pause here and I'll come back to this. I think, I don't know how many of us, let me switch I can't see our chat, so let me stop the share and come back. Okay. I'm trying to get our chat. If you guys can hear, can you see? Please tell me if you can see.
It's blank. The screen is blank.
Can't see. The screen is blank.
The screen is blank.
Yes, just showing. Yes.
Okay.
It's showing screen.
It's showing now.
It's showing now.
Yes.
It's showing now. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong.
It's back now.
It's just showing that you have started screen sharing to your Excel screen. Yeah, your Excel screen. Yes.
Okay. Have you been following? Because I don't know what's wrong with.
Well, I didn't follow you might just go over it again, please.
I need to go over it.
Okay. I'll go back to the off formula.
Last question.
I'll go back to the off formula.
I want to do it now without all.
Okay. Back to the off formula. We know what the first question was: female child and drink must be, or drink is Coke. So we want to see a true indicator for if one of those criteria is met. So we are seeing true in this first cell because one of these two things was correct. This one wasn't correct. It wasn't female, but the drink was Coke. That's why we have true here. That's what this formula means. So if B6 equals to female or C6 equals to Coke, give me true or false. Now, I populated this column with that formula by dragging down. You see, when you put your cursor at the very corner of the cell, you have a black cross that you can drag down to populate the column with any formula you had written. And as you drag down, the formula is going to pick the corresponding cell beside it. Are we clear to that point?
Yes.
So now we move to the next item, which is item 2. If the child's name is Bola or the child is drinking beer, they need to be blacklisted. Others will be warned. That means in this column, we want to see blacklisted or warned. And here, it's not true or false we want. We want blacklisted or warned. And that's where nesting comes in. So nesting is having a formula string as the element of another formula. I'm going to go into the nitty-gritty. So the first part of this is if the child's name is Bola or the child is drinking beer, which is very similar to what we just did. I'll rewrite it now and say, or if this child's name equals to Bola, Bola in quotes, or the child is drinking beer, that means C6 is beer. I close the brackets and say, okay. So we have false because none of these criteria was met. None of these criteria was met. Now we want to make this false. Instead of us to see false, we want to see one. We want to see one instead of false. Then we write our if formula. Now, what is if formula? Before we write our if formula in that cell, I'll just come to this basic simple exercise down. Now, in this exercise, we have using an if formula, display yes in the last column for number of requests that is less than 5 and no if otherwise. What if does is based on the statement, we have to indicate if something is true or false. Simple. Now here it's telling us that if this number of orders is less than 5, we want to see yes here. If it is more than 5, we want to see more equals to 5, we want to see no. And I write the formula saying if. Now the elements of if are the logical test, the value if true, the value if it is false. The logical test here is if this cell is less than 5. That's the logical test. A statement saying what you want. If this cell is less than 5, the value if true here is yes. So put yes in quotes. And the value if false is no. As we have here, no if otherwise. So put no in quotes. And press enter. Oh, less than, sorry, I used greater than sign. So we have yes, because 3 is less than 5. When we drag down the formula, we have no for 8, yes for 1 and 2, no, and so on. And so on. So we see the use of if here. If standing alone is to help us make a cell agree to a statement given. So we want to apportion something to a cell once the logical statement agrees to our thoughts. So if 3 is less than 5, give me yes. And that's what we have here. We have yes now. Now let's go back. Let's take that logic. Now let's take that logic back to the one above. We have or already stating that this is false. Now, if I want this false to be, if I want it to be warned or blacklisted, I would make this my logical statement. I don't know if you are following. The logical statement of my if will become or, this or. So I can just come outside here and write my if. If, now you see that this or has taken the place of the logical statement. So we have or A, Bola equals to A is equals to Bola, C is equals to B, which agrees to what we want in our question. So if this comes out as true, value, so that means our next text is value if true. If this comes out as true, I want it to be blacklisted. But if this comes out as false, which you got when you just typed it out on its own, I want it to be warned. So we have one there instead of the initial false that we got. I'm trying to see. Did you get that? Sorry, can someone tell me if you got that?
Yeah, I did.
Yes, yes, I did.
Yes, I did.
So,
Sorry, please, can you go over that again?
okay, let me go over that. Just one last time. So our logical test here, as we had done earlier, let me clean it. This is the major crux of it. Before we go for that things. What we did earlier, we got false here. If the child's name is Bola or the child drinking beer, we got false because this particular line not agree to it. The child's name here is Chris and the drink is Coke. That's why we have false here. As you can see, the color scheme, we have Chris and Coke. That they don't agree to any of those criteria that we put. Now, based on our logic for the if formula that we wrote here, which says that if the logical statement, after your logical statement, if your result agrees to your logical statement, or if the cell agrees to your logical statement, it's going to apportion the second element into your cell, into the reference cell, and if it is wrong, or if it doesn't agree, it's going to apportion the third element. So here, we said, if 8 is less than 5, give me yes. If it is more than 5, if it is less than 5, give me yes. If it is more than 5, give me no. And 8 is more than 5. That is why we have no here. More and equal to 5. So that's why we have no here. Now bringing that same logic to this place, we have false already. Now imagine this false taking the place of, imagine no taking the place of false here. We don't even want false, we don't want no this time. We want warned. And for yes, we want blacklisted. I don't know if you're following. So for us to bring that logic to this point, we'll say, we'll rewrite this formula with if as the element outside, as the formula, as the parent formula. Now the logical test here, remember every cell has its element. So for if you have logical test, value if true, value if false. Now the logical test in this scenario is our OR formula, which is A6 being Bola or C6 being beer. Now, if this is true for what we are doing, for the points where we are, I want it to be blacklisted. That's why we have blacklisted. Sorry, my spelling shit. That's why we have blacklisted in quotes here. And if it is false, I want it to be warned. And that's why we have 1 there, because in this case, it is false. For this line, it is false. Chris, the name is not Ebola and the drink is not beer. That is why it is warned. I'm going to send this file. Once I'm done with this file, I'm going to send it to everybody's inbox so you can play around with it and see everything I put in it. Also, there's a recording of the class. So now I'm going to populate this column with my formula. And you can see now that, okay, for here now, it's blacklisted because the child's name was Bola. One of the criteria was met. And the drink was Sprite, but we have Bola already, so it's blacklisted. We have 1 for this point and so on and so forth for Issa now, but Issa drank beer. There is blacklisted. Finish. Now the third question is female children who are called Bola are leaders, others are followers. And here's where and comes into play. So we have two, I've mentioned 2 children elements now. I've mentioned or and I've mentioned and. Which is just most of us on this call will know what and is, but let's just go about and is. No, for and, every element in and has to be met for you to get a true result. So if I write equal to and, now they said every female child called Bola is a leader. So I would say the child's name equals to Bola. The gender is female. Let me close it here and stop here. Once I press equal to, we're going to get false because none of the both criteria was met here. If I drag this formula down to the next cell, we have true because Bola is the name and gender is female. If I pull the formula all the way to web, okay, let me do it this way. Let me make this Bola male. We'll see that this one became false. So this Bola, since even if the name was Bola, but as soon as the gender did not agree to what we wrote in the formula string, it became false. So that is what the and formula is. Remember in the or, just one of the criteria needs to be met. But here, both has to be met for whatever for our result to come with a true value. And the beauty of and or formula is that it can go on and on and on. So when you open a formula and in the description you see logical 1, logical 2, logical 3, ... It means you can keep going and write as many logical tests as you want to write. And for and, if you write 15, all 15 must be correct for you to get true result. If correct, you get false. But for or, if 1 out of 15 is correct, you're going to get a true result. Now, the same thing we did for the warned and the blacklisted, we are going to do it for and this time. Here, we want to say false means is a follower, while true means is the leader. So that means we want to replace false with follower and true with leader. Same way we went about that. Using this now as the logical test for our if formula, right? If logical test, the value if true this time is leader. The value if false is follower. And press enter. You see now that our false has been replaced with follower here. And when we drag this down, we are going to have, let me put a bit of spacing. Push. So we are going to have follower, leader, follower, 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 follower. Leader because this child's name is Bola and our gender is female. Are we good?
Yes.
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 Now let's move
Yes.
to the next sheet. Don't worry, I'm going to still send. I'm sorry about all the network issues we had earlier. I'm going to send the file to everybody. Now move to operations 2, where you have other operations, count if, median, sum if, sum, and all this and all that. So basically, except like English, count if means you're counting based on the criteria. If I have a pool of balls and they have various colors, and I say count how many balls are blue. If I want to write it in Excel, I'll select the pool and I'll say command blue. Count how many are blue. That is what count if is. So here we want to count. We have a list of cars. So let me do down this list. What I'm doing to jump from beginning to the end of this list is pressing Control up and Control down. Control up will take me up, Control down will take me. Maybe in the mail I'll try to write 1 or 2 of those shortcuts. So here, I want to write how many in cell E2. We want to write how many Chevy cars we have on this list. Count if Chevy. So write equal to count if. Equal to count if. Once you have a drop down of formula like this, you can either double click the formula to use the formula, or you press tab on your keyboard. I normally press tab. Once you press tab, you've selected the formula that's what highlighted on the list. Now, the range is where what we are looking for is range criteria, English. So range is here, column A. Our criteria is what we are looking for, which is Chevy. So we'll select column A. You can select column A by just pulling down, or quick tip again, just go to the first cell and press Shift Control down, like down, direction down on your keyboard. I'm going to select everything to the last point. But there's a danger here. Sometimes your formula will have breaks. Your data will have maybe a gap or a blank. It's going to stop before the blank. So you have to be careful whenever you're doing this, because I know what is here. That's why I'm using it. So you press Shift Control and down to select what's down the column. Now, the next thing is our criteria. Our criteria is Chevy. So it's one of 2 things. You can write Chevy in quotes and press enter. It's going to count how many Chevy we have in that list. I'm sure if I go down manually now, we'll have 30. Are we following?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, for median,
Yes.
median mathematics, the number in the middle, we want to know what the median of these prices are. We'll just simply write median. So I'm just trying to warm us up for what is median. So write median, and the same way I told us earlier, Shift Control and down this list. Press enter. So we have the median of those numbers, which is 22,404. Now, first operation, and the next operation, which is sum if. The sum if looks like count if, but this time we are not just counting, we are summing up value. So if I have 5 notes in my wallet, 5 1,000 naira notes in my wallet, if I use count if, I'm going to have 5. If I use sum if, I'm going to have 5,000 naira. So that's just the difference between sum if and count if. So here in sum if we have, okay, now give me an indicator that my time will soon be up. So in sum if, we have 3 elements. We have the range, we have the criteria, and we have the sum range. The range is where we have, let me use another example because this one will be too simple. So now I want to do the prices. I want to sum the prices of all the Toyotas. So sum if. Now our range here is where we have the information that we are currently provided. So now we are provided with the name of the car brand, which is Toyota. So we have car type. We'll select the range of where the car types are. So that is where we have the Toyota. Then we'll press comma. Let me go back to the formula. Sorry for this. Now our criteria is that the name of the car is Toyota. So in this range, all the Toyota. Now our sum range is where we have the prices. So for every Toyota here, some of the prices in this other column, yes, in the adjacent column. So we are summing up, we are selecting this whole range because that is where the prices are. Note that the sum range, what they call that, the length of the sum range string should be equal to the length of the range string. And we press enter. So now this figure here is the sum of all Toyota cars in that list. Let me make this more relatable. So 661,000 is the sum of all Toyota cars in this list. Back to the elements of the formula. We have the range of the range is where we have Toyota. Our criteria was Toyota, both, and the sum range is the range with all the prices in it. Change. So when I send you just so you try your hands at something, when I send you the file, you would feel these other ones. They are very related to what I just. So there's count if for Toyota, which is like count if for Chevy. There's count if for Ford. Now this one is a bit technical. If the prices are less than 20,000. So let's do that. Sum if for less than 20,000. So equals to sum if check the charts. I'm not getting from you guys. Okay. So now our range here is where the information we have, where we can find it. Information we have this time is the price of the car, which is less than 20,000. Less than 20,000 is not the name of a car. It is a price or a price range. So in quotes, we are going to write less than 20,000. Sorry, that is a mistake. So we are going to select the range. So the range is where we have the prices. Again, now our criteria is less than 20,000. So in quotes, it's in less than 20,000. Then our sum range is that range again, because that's where we can sum. We can't sum up names. We can sum up prices. So we are going to sum up that same range again. I'll press enter. So here we have the total sum of the prices of cars that are less than 20,000 or 20,000. Yeah, I don't know what the currency is. Let's just say naira. 20,000 naira. I wish I had more time. My time is almost up, so I wish I had more time to really explain this. But once I send the file, you get it quickly enough. Now, I'll quickly jump to this last set. So if we have less than 30 cars, if you have less than 30 Chevy cars, indicates that we'll shut down. So we know we had 35 here, so we are not shutting down. So now back to what we made our formula from the other side, our nesting formula. So the first thing we are counting if, we are doing count if. Count if here is Chevy. So our result is 35. Is this less than 30? No. But we cannot just remove it and put don't shut down. We want to write a formula that will do everything for us. So we'll do almost the same thing we did that time. Say if this formula is less than 30, say shut down. So, but if the value is false, meaning that it's not less than 30, say reopen or something, reopen. So I'm making this mistake again. Less down. So you see, because this string is giving us 35, which is not less than 30, we are going to get value if false, which is reopen. Do you get that?
Yes.
Right. Now, I will leave these other ones blank because I think you can get everything. You can get this one. Oh, no, you can't. I don't think I've touched on this. So we have sum if, we have count if. Now we have some ifs and count ifs. So some ifs and count ifs help with multiple criteria. So we have multiple criteria. We use some if and count ifs. So some ifs, let me do this one. Let me start counting. So how many Chevy cars are more than 20,000 naira? That's this question here. So we have two criteria. One, the car's name has to be Chevy, and two, the price has to be more than 20K. So we can't. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
So we can't use count. We can't use count if here because count if covers helps. Count if works when we have just one criteria. Like here we had just Chevy as the car type. Now we have Chevy and we have prices more than 20K. So we write count ifs. I'll start by double click. Let me double click so you know it works. So we double click and we've selected the formula. Now the first thing, it depends on what you want to do. Your creative freedom, as you say it. I'll start with the car name. Now, our criteria range is this, and Chevy is the type. And the next thing is criteria range 2 is where we have the second criteria, which is the price. So we have price, comma, is more than, I don't want to miss it this time, more than is greater than, in quotes, greater than 21 cars and more than that. So when I send the file, I want you to work on the second step. My time is up now. I have less than a minute. So I want you to